Oh, hey, how you going? It's Joey, that Aussie metal guy here with crank.com and thatmetalstation.com. Today, I'm getting to have a chat with multi-instrumentalist Joey Diabolic about his
What's
music,
up?
but also the Nightmare on Elm Street themes he's got going on. Joey Diabolic, thank you very much for joining me, mate.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Absolute pleasure, man. Can I before we start into the albums and the Freddy Krueger stuff, can I ask how you originally got into playing music and what was the first instrument you started with?
Music was always kind of around in my house growing up. Splish Splash was a huge song as a kid. I was like, I don't know, 3 or 4, jumping on the bed, going nuts. And then my dad got me a toy guitar, so I'm jamming with his band and stuff like that. And then years down the way, my aunt actually gave me my first guitar, which I actually have.
Yeah, we got to see this. Oh, wow, there it is. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
3/4 scale, I believe.
That's cool. That's good because I've asked about first guitars a few times and I think I've had you and one other guy who's glad sec. I'll grab it for you. I'll show you what the first guitar was.
Yeah, and I use that every once in a while, just to kind of get, just a little bit of different atmosphere and just something a little more twangy.
That's cool.
For certain recordings. But yeah, it's pretty much started with that, and then I was pretty much obsessed with, trying to figure things out by ear.
Yep.
Then started getting lessons, and then
yeah. So what kind of music were you getting into back when you first started playing guitar? What were you kind of playing away there?
I think before like when I was still in the plastic red toy guitar era,
yeah.
I was listening to pretty much what my sister was listening to, which was like New Kids on the Block.
It's funny that, eh?
And yeah, and they did that video Hanging Tough, and Joey McIntyre's playing guitar. I'm like, I want to play guitar. And then I got the guitar, and then pretty much around the same time, I was introduced to Metallica.
Yep.
And that was pretty much it.
Yeah, because you're around the same generation as me. And then
Yep.
So can I ask when did the fascination start with The Nightmare on Elm Street?
Actually, I think before I even started playing guitar.
Yeah.
I saw a snippet of it when I was a kid, and it was the scene where Joey was tied to the bed, and then the bed falls away, and then it's just the hellfire.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is so cool. And then I think like maybe a decade later, I got a hold of the part 4, and I was just hooked, and then went back and then went forward with the filmography.
Yeah, well, the connection with Nightmare on Elm Street is that the music was really quite spooky as well, and that's where you can draw a lot of that musical kind of inspiration from it all as well, that has gone into this Through the Soundwaves as well, that you've kind of been working on most of 2020. You've had a couple of singles here and there. You brought out Through the Soundwaves Volume 3, 14th of January 2021, and you've got number 4 coming through on 2nd of April. So you can kind of, you feel like those musical beginnings probably back then when you were listening, you're getting a little bit of inspiration from that music. So that real spooky kind of
noise. Oh yeah. And it's all subconsciously too, because you're just, at that age, you're just kind of aware that something's a little different about this music, and then it kind of resonates. And then the more I learned about music and then like composing, then playing piano or like, synths or whatever.
Yeah.
You start kind of breaking things down, and you're like, oh, that's how they got that sound, and oh, that's why it makes sense, future in future films or whatever. But Charles Bernstein was incredible. Just writing that, and it's so perfect and like to the point, and just has all this atmosphere, even just in the piano piece by itself, without the other sort of sound effects and synthesized effects and everything like that.
Yeah, well, I love the ode to A Nightmare on Elm Street you've done, and I love the covers. The covers you've chosen have fit perfectly. That Stabbing Westward, Save Yourself, That was cool. Just all these different tracks, the Anthrax one, you know, the Sponge cover, it all kind of just sat really, really well. And can I ask about Mama Doom, the vocals there as well? I went back and checked out that album From Blue to Bone, a really great listen. So if anyone's listening, go check that out as well.
Oh yeah, Mama Doom is incredible. Actually, before going under the Joey Diabolic moniker, I was going under Martyr Art for like 16 years.
Okay.
And it was hi Pixel. This is Pixel.
Hey, I love animals, man. I got my little doggy down here as well.
So yeah, I was booking shows for the last album I did under Martyr Art, which was Fear Faith Machines.
Okay.
And it's kind of like this whole viewpoint of a dystopian future back in, you know, from 2018 viewing forward, which I think we're kind of getting there. But yeah, we did shows and we really got to kind of really bond on a lot of different musical ideas. I was playing bass for them for a little bit.
Okay.
When they were kind of reorganizing the band. And then we did like a little bit of a project called Dark Lolly. And then I realized I had a bunch of material that I could write, you know, like, you know, solo sort of stuff that was a little bit more, I don't know, you know, going more in the horror thing, which I was
the darker
kind of
scene
touching upon.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of touched upon that when I did the Friday the 13th Nintendo theme as Martyr Art back in 2015. But and then they wanted to do something different with Mama Doom, which their new album that's dropping, I think their new album is dropping in April or May. It's incredible.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Superb. But yes, so it's like I was finishing up volume 2, and I'm like thinking about like how the hell am I gonna follow up volume 2 with volume 3 and 4? Because I was thinking of just doing another set of 4 or 5 covers, whatever.
Yep.
And I'm like, I think it'd be a lot more interesting if I could do something for this love of this horror franchise that, you know, has always been a part of my life ever since, you know, childhood or whatever. And so I had a general idea that, you know, I would write original songs to kind of reflect my fan fiction reinterpretation of the plot line throughout the whole series, while the cover songs kind of reference certain things in the movie, whether it's like actual plot points or they refer to similar sounding songs in the film, you know, throughout the films. And I called up Dialali, and she was totally for it. She's like, I love Nightmare on Elm Street. That's like one of my favorite horror films. And she's like, anything you want, just let me know. So I had her on Creature of the Wheel, and then I think 3 or 4 songs on volume 4.
Yeah. And I've got a sneaky listen to volume 4 too, so people are going to be in for a treat. They need to go out and buy this kind of stuff and support it, because it really is a great listen. You know, you've got that white zombie cover that's on there, and you're talking about the original Eye in the Shadow and the Darkness there. That's really cool as well. And you've got another original on volume 4. I do love the way you've kind of created this soundscape around your ode to Nightmare on Elm Street as well, and it's kind of given me a good entry point into, like, as you said, Mama Doom. Now I'm going to go out and check out your other band that you're in as well. It must be good to kind of do a project like this for yourself, especially with the year we had with 2020, to be able to go, okay, I'm going to lock myself away for a while and just kind of work, because there's not much else I can do in 2020.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the compliment. Yeah, it's, you know, I moved into a bigger space, so I had more physical space to work with like really kind of developing other areas of these songs that I just needed physical space. Like, I don't know if you can see it, but
yeah,
I actually finished an acoustic to electric drum conversion, and I did the tracks and then while I'm recording the tracks, the drum triggers I built broke. So I'm just like, I guess I'll fix it, but, you know, I at least got the live feel and play through for most of the songs. But yeah, as far as locking myself away, working on art, you know, the Volume 3 and Volume 4 were probably the most intense I've done.
Yeah.
That I can even remember. Especially like, because my thought is too, is like, if I ever present or ever have the opportunity to present the box set I'm working on, which is the whole series Through Soundwaves 1 through 4, if I have the opportunity to present that to like, you know, Heather Langenkamp or Tuesday Night or Robert England or, you know, somebody that was really part of the series, you know, I wouldn't want to disappoint them, you know.
Yeah. You got to
and
do
plus
it.
fans too, like the fan base is like, people love those films, and it's just like, I love those films just as much. And as a fan, it's like, hey, other fans, you know, maybe we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, well, I love those films too. So I remember when they come out, I used to go over to a mate's, and he'd live kind of like next door, but it was a little about 5-minute walk or something. It was kind of in this courtyard area, and we'd go watch it. And his big brother there, he'd mess with us, man. I remember watching him and running back really fast home, but I'd be sitting there with my mates all brave but scared shitless when I'd have to go home at night trying to run it.
Yeah, you're just like,
to get home. Yeah, I know the music and everything. Do you have a favorite Nightmare on Elm Street film?
I would say the fourth.
Yeah.
I don't know what, I mean, because it's like, but like, I would say my favorite character is Nancy.
Yeah.
Like, she's like the ultimate heroine in that entire series, you know. But I don't know. It's just the fourth one. I think it's even like with the song Nightmare that is on Volume 4. That's actually the song that opens up Part 4 of Dream Master.
Yep.
And I always thought it was a cool, like, it was a 80s pop song, but there was like this weird darkness to it. And it was just like, you know, I could see this a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
But as a kid, not even like really developed as a musician, it's like I couldn't really break that down. But, you know, now that I'm doing that, I'm like, oh yeah, I should really revisit that idea I had 30 years ago.
Yeah. So how long?
However long it was.
So how long did it take you to kind of make one of these? I was going to ask you before, but I'm going to ask now while it's in my head. How long did it take you to we'll go with Volume 3. How long did it, because it would have been a big process doing, because you've done most of it yourself with the instruments as well, didn't you?
Yeah, all the production.
All
the instrumentation, arrangement, you know.
Yeah.
And then like learning all the individual arrangements for the cover songs and then reinterpreting or even like overwriting in a sense where I can like make it my own.
It's been a huge process.
I would say about a year.
Yep.
Because I started the initial concept and programming on a couple of the songs before I even knew it was going to be, you know, a Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, themed. Back in January, I think. Potter's Field, Save Yourself, and Nightmare.
Yeah.
You know, Nightmare I was just kind of messing around with, but then I was just like, maybe I could do something more with that. Yeah, it was just, but as soon as I was like, as soon as D. Lolly was like on board, I'm like, this is it. This is what's happening. And it was just, I've just been like nonstop. I even moved in the middle of everything too. And I was like, yeah.
So where's the best place people can get along and support Joey Diabolic? Because this really is a great EP, and like I say to all the artists, it's like, and people that are listening to interviews like this, it's always great to listen to, you know, on all your digital platforms. But I'm a big fan of supporting the scene, i.e., you know, I know records or even buying digital. I know people want to listen to digital. You can still head over to Bandcamp. I like going over to Bandcamp and doing things like that as well. It does help to support the artists. And if you got the money, you put it down there, you slap it down, you pay for your music, and you've got it still digitally anyway as well. So is Bandcamp the best way for people to get over and support?
Yeah, right now I'm working on joeydiabolic.com, but right now you can just head over to joeydiabolic.bandcamp.com, and I'm actually re-releasing Through Soundwaves Part 1 and 2 under Joey Diabolic probably in the next couple months to coincide with the box set.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going back to Freddy Krueger because I bounce around all over the place just the way I roll sometimes, man. Can I ask what you thought of the remake? Because I did want to ask this before, but I'm going to ask it now. What did you think of the remake with Jackie Earl Haley there?
He is a great actor. I thought he was fantastic as Rorschach, right? And I think, yeah, oh yeah. And I thought he did a good job. My problem with that remake is how they changed his backstory.
Yeah.
It just, nah.
Yeah, I know.
Because then for me, it kills all the humor, it just totally, I don't know, it took away the enjoyment in a sense. But as far as like, I thought they did some really great visuals with it. It was interesting how they, with certain aspects of the plot, that like how it kind of worked or whatever, and it kind of wasn't a direct remake of the original.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they changed that backstory and it's like the last 20 minutes, it's just like,
I know, kind of. That's what I tuned out too as well. But they had a good shot at it anyway. Maybe next time they might get it right.
Yeah. Well, I always thought it'd be cool. Like, I mean, I don't know if they would ever put like the sort of budget or whatever, but I thought it'd be cool if they ever did kind of like an end game version of A Nightmare on Elm Street, where it's like kind of taps in more to like part 6, where they're going back into his memories to kind of figure out who he is, but it's like, they kind of go back to like the dream demons, like when they existed, and then like them finding Freddy Krueger as like the supreme host of nightmares. And that's kind of my my reinterpretation of the plot line, where it's like he was kind of set up and he was made to be their warrior sort of thing, and then he just like he finds out and it's like, nah.
Yeah, that sounds good, dude. I remember going to see Nightmare on Elm Street too. I think it might have been the 6th one or maybe the 5th. The one they done in 3D. I think it was the 3D one. I remember sitting there.
That was the 6th one, yeah.
The blue and the green glasses, or the red and blue glasses it was, and we'd go.
I've never seen that version.
Yeah, I was young. They'd let us in too. We'd had an age restriction, but it was like a smaller theatre, so they just must have been like, "Yeah, you're right." It was back in the day. Everyone wasn't so worried about the age. Hey, he's all right. Just let him go in. Give him a lollipop. He's fine.
Yeah. I've actually tried tracking down the VHS that actually has the 3D glasses, that has that section in 3D.
Yeah.
But I haven't had any luck with that. I saw Freddy vs. Jason in the theater, and that was a hoot. I just had a great time.
Yeah.
And it was nice to actually see a Nightmare on Elm Street film with Robert Englund in the theaters as opposed to just on TV.
Yeah, I love going and seeing the Nightmare on Elm Street films on cinema. I've seen a whole stack of them when I was a young lad. It was an absolute joy of mine. Joey Diabolic, man, we're going to sign out, dude. This has been absolute hoot, chatting about Freddy Krueger and Through the Soundwaves, Volume 3 and 4, which comes out 2nd of April. The Volume 3 is already out, so head over to Bandcamp, chuck down some money, grab this album, turn it up really loud, spook out the neighbours, and have a good rock out, man. Last words, shout outs or thank yous.
Thank you.
1 second.
Sorry.
1 second before we do. My bad. No, that was my fault.
No.
After we do last words and shout outs, man, I'm going to add in the original track you've got off this on, The Shadow and Darkness, but I'll get you to pick a track you want on the end as well. One of the other ones off Through the Soundwaves Volume 3.
Cool.
Okay. You're good to go. Last words, bro.
All right, yeah, man. No problem. I just want to give a shout out to everybody that helped out with the EP, Vane Manners, D. Lally, and thank you to Curtis for setting this up. Jai, thank you for the interview, man. It's fucking great time. Love the Arise flag you have in the back.
Yeah, man, I got a ton of brutal stuff. I just got back in my office, so it's cool. Slowly decking it out. I got a nice court order one from a New York band over here as well. I've interviewed a few New York bands, so when you were talking about space, I'm like, yeah, I understand the pain.
Exactly, right? Yeah.
Cool. Which track did you want me to add in there?
Yeah, so I'm the Shadow of the Darkness, Be Cool, and Save Yourself.
Awesome.
That seems to be getting a pretty good response. So,
Joey, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining me on That Metal Station, and it's great. Cheers, man. You have a lovely night.
All right. Thank you, man. You too.